Good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Ponticiello, and I will be presenting Traditional Healer-Delivered Support Improves Relinkage to Care and Art Adherence Support Among Defaulted People Living with HIV in Rural Uganda. And I'll be presenting on behalf of our team at Weill Cornell Medicine in the US, as well as Mbarara University of Science and Technology in Mbarara, Uganda. So about half of people living with HIV in sub-Saharan Africa will default from care within 2 years, and the World Health Organization estimates that over 80% of the population in sub-Saharan Africa, including Uganda, utilizes traditional healers. We previously demonstrated in 2019 that Ugandan traditional healers could successfully improve uptake of HIV testing among their clients through facilitating point-of-care HIV self-test at their practices. We therefore hypothesized that traditional healers could take this a step further and also support relinkage to HIV care and ART adherence among their defaulted people living with HIV clients. To do this, we conducted a small prospective cohort study among traditional healers and their defaulted people living with HIV clients with suboptimal ART adherence in Mbarara Township, which is in Mbarara, Uganda. To do this, we adapted a layperson HIV support program from South Africa where traditional healers were trained on facilitating linkage to care and ART adherence support. Healers delivered non-clinical support weekly for 4 weeks and then monthly to their people living with HIV clients. Data was collected at baseline and then monthly for 8 months, and all participants, both healers and their people living with HIV clients, participated in a qualitative exit interview. Our primary outcome was relinkage to HIV care within 14 days. However, secondary outcomes included ART reinitiation, ART adherence, retention in care at 8 months, and implementation outcomes. In total, we included 12 traditional healers and 20 people living with HIV. We had outstanding results with all 20 people living with HIV, 100% of participants relinking to care and initiating ART within 14 days of enrollment. The average time to ART reinitiation was 2 days. In addition, after 120 days of receiving healer-delivered support, people living with HIV's ART adherence improved nearly 20-fold compared to baseline. In addition, all people living with HIV were retained in care at 8 months. In addition, in Figure 2, you can see the implementation outcomes of acceptability, appropriateness, and feasibility. We administered structured surveys to each stakeholder group, and we achieved either 100% or nearly 100% in each of the 3 implementation domains among both stakeholder groups. In addition, I mentioned that we collected qualitative data. Traditional healers reported that they were able to help their people living with HIV clients overcome their reticence to seek HIV care. One traditional healer remarked about his client, "You will never see her at the clinic, but she was able to give them time and audience the last time I accompanied her to the clinic." Additionally, people living with HIV reported that they preferred to receive their support from their healers as opposed to clinic staff. One woman responded, "In fact, HIV clinic staff also do a great work, but they do not understand us very well. In fact, we fear them. I think it is better HIV issues be handled by people who know their clients very well." In closing, traditional healers can successfully facilitate relinkage to HIV care and support ART adherence and retention in care in the short term. Traditional healers should be considered key stakeholders in efforts to improve HIV control in their communities. However, further studies are needed to explore long-term impact and effectiveness of this program via randomized control trial. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is a presentation we did at Almahdi, Uganda, and my name is Peter Wabulaka. We're looking at behavior economic incentives to support HIV adherence in a short brief. Best, we're talking of a 1-year results between 2018 and 2019. Okay. That slide is just for the people we did the research with and our funder, NIH. The background of the study is that a number of people experience ART adherence, ART fatigue contributing to incomplete treatment adherence, and that leads to HIV progression, and next will be definitely death. So this study tests whether small incentives are effective at improving adherence and increasing the likelihood of viral suppression. It compares 2 ways of implementing incentives. One linked to daily behaviors of the client in terms of medication adherence, and then the second one is linked to clinic indicators. That means timely clinic visits and viral suppression. We enrolled 330 clients at Almahdi, Uganda, and these are people who have been on art for more than 2 years. It means they are not naive to art. And at least we were targeting people who have had recent signs of adherence, that is missing appointments, they have high viral load, and etc. So participants were randomized into 3 groups. The first group was the one that is linked to the incentives, electronic monitored incentives, and there were 111. And these people were eligible to to draw for a price if they kept their appointment. Then the second intervention or group was the first one was about those whose adherence. If they performed up to a certain adherence, they could draw a price. And then the second one are those, if they kept the appointment, they would also be eligible to draw a price. The whole issue is we were interested in trying to link if giving incentives can make someone improve their adherence. Okay, that slide has a selection of a few of the small incentives that we gave, things that cost about $1, 3,500 shillings in Uganda, and we thought that might have an impact on the adherence. Okay, small prices usually occurred at 2 to 3 months every time the client comes to the clinic, and the big prices appeared at the end of the year, and those were a little bit higher than the small prices. So between April 2018 up to 2019, before we had the COVID, we had those 3 groups, 111, 109, and 109 in the control group. The control group were those who were accessing the normal care as designed by the Ministry of Health and implemented at Malime, Uganda. So results. For the targeted group of those with low baseline adherence, the MEMS-linked incentives increased adherence by 7.6%, and the clinic-linked incentives, the group 2, increased adherence by 5.6 points, and those in the control group performed at 76%. However, this improvement for those with low baseline adherence disappeared after 12 months. We found no effect on viral suppression. Conclusions. Behavioral incentives improve at adherence among treatment mature clients, but only if correctly targeted to clients with low adherence. Effect sizes were similar between incentive groups, but only statistically significant for MEMS-linked group. The clinic-linked incentives could be scaled up at relatively low cost, but more work is needed to assess their effectiveness. Thank you for your audience.
Ok. Bonjour tout le monde. Et vous avez Dr Almahdi Alitini, chef de projet EPIC au niveau de l'ONG Sutra sur le projet EPIC au Mali. C'est un plaisir pour nous aujourd'hui de partager avec vous notre expérience en matière de détention sur les traitements ARV et l'offre de services VIH au niveau des populations clés vivant avec le VIH. Les cas des MSM suivis par l'ONG Sutra sur le projet EPIC au Mali. Alors l'ONG Sutra au Mali, c'est une association non gouvernementale qui a été créée il y a 20 ans de cela et qui intervient dans 6 régions du Mali à travers 22 districts sanitaires où elle intervient à travers ses 11 cliniques communautaires. Elle offre ses services dans 750 hotspots qui sont couverts par 187 pères éducateurs, 7 pères navigateurs et 1 père éducateur en ligne. L'objectif du projet EPIC est d'identifier toutes les personnes nouvellement infectées par le VIH et de lier ces personnes au traitement ARV, les retenir sous traitement ARV et leur permettre d'avoir un accès aux services de charge virale au bout de 6 mois de traitement. Alors, parmi les 11 cliniques communautaires de Sutra, 3 cliniques offrent les services MSM. Alors, au niveau de ces cliniques, tous les staffs ont été formés effectivement sur les approches de la paire navigation. La paire navigation, c'est une approche qui permet un suivi individuel de toute personne initiée, nouvellement diagnostiquée positive qui est initiée au traitement ARV. Elles ont été formées également sur l'approche de management des cas qui permet la gestion en fait des personnes qui ont du mal à supprimer leur charge virale. Au niveau de ces cliniques communautaires, il existe des procédures opérationnelles standardisées qui sont relatives à l'adhérence au traitement ARV, au service de tests de charge virale, pour permettre une meilleure suppression de la charge virale. Nos données sont générées à partir de notre système d'information, les 10.2, et sont désagrégées par type de population, et elles concernent la période d'octobre 2020 à septembre 2021. Comme leçon apprise, pendant la période, les cliniques de Soudan ont suivi 400 MSM qui étaient positifs au VIH et qui étaient sous traitement ARV, parmi lesquels 33 étaient des jeunes MSM et 67 étaient des MSM qui avaient plus de 25 ans. Les taux de rétention globale étaient de 90%. La rétention était plus élevée chez les jeunes MSM avec 95% que chez les vieux MSM avec 87%. 38% de l'ensemble des MSM étaient éligibles pour la charge virale et 84% ont bénéficié effectivement de la charge virale. 77% de ces MSM ont réussi les résultats de leur charge virale, parmi lesquels 85% avaient supprimé la charge virale. Et nous avons constaté que les taux de suppression étaient plus élevés chez les MSM qui avaient plus de 25 ans que chez les MSM les plus jeunes, avec 75% de taux de suppression. Alors, en conclusion, nous retenons que l'approche des paires navigation et des management des cas ont permis effectivement d'améliorer la rétention sous traitement ARV, mais nous remarquons quand même que le taux de suppression de la charge virale est moins faible et plus faible chez les jeunes HSH. Et donc, nous recommandons au programme de mieux intégrer la différence générationnelle entre les jeunes et les vieux MSM dans leur intervention pour une meilleure offre de services tenant compte des besoins des différents groupes. Je vous remercie.